Aw, darn. Here we go again. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was released in 2004 and set in the year I was born. Now, given that the unfortunately named Definitive Edition's value was a little under its MSRP, I thought it would be swell to jump back into this absolute classic with brilliant loading screen art and potentially the nicest typesetting for a save screen in gaming. So naturally the first thing I do is jump on this bike out of habit and ride it for about 5 seconds when I realize, this is classic GTA, baby. So I temporarily commandeer this taxi.
Grove Street.
Completely miffed by this man transporting 2 unsecured 2x4s, which funny enough are actually 1.5 by 3.5s. I decide I'd like a BMX again, but it's not the one that Rockstar told me to use, so I feel like my own man. I run my bike into 2 people, one of them I think is in my gang. In search of melee weapons, I assault a man wielding a knife. When a police officer gets involved, then runs away after getting shot, and I finish off Mr. Knife Guy with some swift kicks to the groin. The officer returns, and I mistake his body language as hostile. Oops, I guess we're in one now, boys. A stranger then runs their car through the altercation, so you could say I'm not actually responsible for his death. Now armed with a whoop-ass stick, I choose to take it out for a spin before completely expunging my record with this floating star. But Buddy Boy isn't done with me, and I give him a few free shots just to make things interesting before committing a violent crime with some excellent framing by the camera. I borrow the police bike feeling like an untouchable crim when a pole reminds me how quick we all do fall. My path is blocked by this attendant who I then shoot into oblivion. The police arrive, and I use their vehicle to enter, but these boys is way too good for me, and my dream of being airborne for some reason never leaves the ground. I return at night, and as luck would have it, the dodo is unguarded. I fly around a bit before spotting something really interesting. Fearing for my life, I jump into a private jet and unfortunately run over little baggage, and set the jet on fire. Fortunately, it's only a little damaged, and I fly it back to my neighborhood, masterfully landing it on a major roadway. But don't worry, it's not like it exploded. I think to myself, I should probably do the first mission. So me and the boys are biking around like you do, and I slowed down because I'm a little too far away. When I get ran from behind by the police, because I guess they don't appreciate it when you blow up planes in the suburbs, and my wanted level hadn't gone away. I'm arrested by a man who gets hit by a car twice. But it's okay, because this worked quite well in my favor, as the police station has body armor, a club, a long pink baton, and a shotgun. I then use my baton on a streetwalker, inventing a new leg sweep move, and then I enjoy this experience much more than I am comfortable sharing with potential employers, or anyone I know. I somehow get myself wanted again, and end up on a man's car who apparently outfitted it with bulletproof glass. My man, you have lived in San Andreas for too long. So here I am again, attempting the first mission, somehow again with a wanted status, and I'm busted. Only this time I take out the shotgun inside the station, and these big brother bastards know about it a little too fast. Is it me, or is this satirical look at 90s America ringing a little too true? So for a third time, I am attempting the first mission. I love this game. And you're not gonna believe it, I beat the mission. I got the respect. And I went to save the game. So I switch memory cards out, and... So I boot up the game again, and watch as a police officer willfully ignores gunshots from a nearby gang member, while I try to figure out the widescreen feature, as I seem to be the only person who notices that this is a little stretched out, man. Anyway, it's not a proper widescreen option, so I switch back, and realize how a song can really distract you from the terrible stuff you can do in this game.
Said Amos was a hell of a man. He could trap the meanest alligator, and just use one hand.
I steal a ZR350, and notice the game is a lot less animated than it was a second ago. And it turns out my slim PS2 is out for 6 to 8 with a sports turn, so it's time to sub in the other slim guy. Okay, so it's time for the old fat boy, the tried and true original best-selling game console of all time to this day. At this point, I thought it'd be neat to see how much I could do without touching the first mission. So I go house hunting, and I am gunned down by what I imagine is some sort of property management gang. It really do be hard out there. Waking from the hospital, I witness a man attacking a police officer with no inciting incident. I would love to have seen what led to this moment, but sadly, technology can only do so much. I steal a bobcat, yes, that's what this is called, and I'm devastated to find out Binko's clothing store is not available until I complete some missions.
Disappointed!
I arrive at the races, which I didn't even know about, and find out I need to have more skill with cars. So I stay up all night, improving all my skills to max level, and didn't even use the square L2, X, R1, L2, L2, left, R1, right, L1, L1, L1 cheat, so you can stop saying that I did. I enter the race, and to my amazement, it was a race. I won in the category of dying in a fiery wreck. Still upset about my first introduction into real estate, I commit myself to one day buying a home and defending my weak little bullet-addled body, gaining armor and $250,000 through sheer dedication, and not the R1, R2, L1X, left, down, right, up cheat. I purchased property, so I can now save my progress, if that's what we're calling it. And on my way to my next purchase, I have too much fun on a BMX with maxed out stats.
Not what I expected, but hey, at least I'm working.
I purchased property next to the airport so I can easily access a plane, then expertly land that plane if I do say so myself. I am now a beachfront property owner, which is cool because we didn't start making the ocean rise until Al Gore mentioned it, and that's like 14 years from now, so we're good. I take off from my private beach airstrip and attempt to leave Los Santos flying under the radar. It doesn't work, and jets start firing rockets at me, but they're no match for my self-inflicted damage, and I bail only to be run over by an overzealous individual in a truck. I use my standard run around in circles like a maniac move and managed to get in said truck to make my getaway. I am delighted to find out how difficult 4-star chases are, and we've still got 2 more stars to go. How exciting. I then ditch my vehicle and manage to encounter some sheriffs. Out of the frying pan and into the firing squad. My goodness. I wake from the hospital and play a little game of Everybody Gets One, in which I find out how many people I can hit a single time before getting 2 stars. And the answer is a lot. I engage in an absolutely classic GTA chase which lasts for about 5 minutes. After leaving the hospital, which at this point I probably have a discounted rate at, I stand near a rival gang until they open fire on me and then get them to hit a police officer, who proceeds to gun them down one by one until they run away, making all the stuff I've done so far seem a lot less brutal. An ambulance arrives and I decide it's time to do some good. Oh sorry, it was actually just a lance. My bad. I get into a Simpsons road rage mindset and attempt to help Los Santos' high jumpers and profuse bleeders.
Come on. Move it! Could you be any slower?
My dilly-dallying cost me some patience and my patience, but that joke is in the spelling on my script here, so it's back to the foreign real estate game we go. I get very, very lost. Geez, Los Santos, pick a more confusing airport setup. Eventually I find my way, but have to exit my vehicle like a superhero. I find a jet and manage to damage it before taking off. Geez, Los Santos, pick a more dangerous runway setup. Unfortunately, there aren't any planes that I can find, so I scare air traffic control, and then myself, and begin my perilous journey to obtain property in an unknown land. But Rockstar was one step ahead of me, and it turns out you can't buy certain property until you complete enough missions, and that a streetlight doesn't mix well with an already damaged jet. I return with what I think is a more nimble aircraft, but am shot down. I return with a new strategy, which I forgot, causing me to dive bomb in the worst possible way. I return again, but this time transmutating 2 cars into a tank, conforming with the law of equivalent exchange. After somehow getting through this barrier between cities, I have the most fun the game can offer, utilizing the Rhino's ability to move faster by shooting backwards. But sadly, all good things do come to an end, and a navigation error lands me in hot water, although my guess is the water was quite cold. So I board a boat and attempt to take out a helicopter, but the police do it for me. I then engage in 90s pirate warfare, and the experience is definitely worth it. At this point, I feel like I've exhausted all my options, and thank you for joining me in my travels through this absolute classic Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Who knows, next time we just might complete the first mission.
Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. I felt so good, like anything was possible.